13. And who's top dog in the AFC? Boomer and the Bengals or Kelly and the Bills? A changing of the guard in Washington. Could Mark Rippon keep the Skins' playoff hopes alive? The Bears are on their way to the playoffs, but will all of their players be with them? The road to the NFC East title goes to Philadelphia, where the Cards up for the challenge. The Dolphins and Jets put on a real shootout at the Meadowlands. And the Colts and Patriots are playing for playoff survival. We'll shake you up next on NFL Primetime.
Once again, everybody, I'm Chris Berman, and welcome to ESPN's NFL Primetime, along with Pete Axtell, Tom Jackson, and John Saunders. Was it a lucky Week 13? We felt lucky here at ESPN to have a Week 13 game between a pair of NFC leaders, the co-leaders in the East, the Giants, and the leaders in the West, the Saints, by 2 games if they could beat the Niners. And at home, the Saints knew that they wouldn't have to face Phil Simms. He was on the sidelines. Jeff Hostetler started. In the meantime, Bobby Hebert, Alonzo Hill, touchdown. Or was it? They look at the replay, 2 feet in, yes. Control the ball, no. So we settle for a Morton Anderson field goal and a 3-0 Saints lead. Jeff Hostetler meet number 56, Pat Swilling, with the sack. And Moses enjoyed it. But Hostetler gets his revenge, at least in the second quarter for a while. He finds Stephen Baker, the touchdown maker. Beats Van Jakes, avoids Brett Maxey, 85 yards. That's his number. That's the distance for a touchdown, 7-6. But the Saints marched back late in the second quarter. Morton Anderson with a pair of field goals, and at the half, Saints 9, Giants 7. Third quarter, Giants make a quarterback change. They go to the more veteran quarterback, at least compared to Hostetler, Jeff Rutledge. And he met Pat Swilling as well. James Geathers gathers it in. But on the very next play, Bobby Hebert meet LT, Lawrence Taylor, who had 3 sacks despite leaving the game for a while with an injury. Jim Burt recovers. But guess what happens on the next play? Pat Swilling hits Rutledge. Boom! James Geathers gathers it in again. 9 turnovers in this game. 5 by the Giants, 4 by the Saints. 12-10, Saints with a minute to go. Rutledge somehow finds Stephen Baker wide open. How did it happen? And then they position Paul McFadden for the 35-yard field goal. Yeah, he just kind of curves it in. But it's good enough for a crazy win for Bill Parcells and company. The Giants 13 and the New Orleans Saints 12. And ironic, perhaps, that Paul McFadden, a man cut earlier this year by Buddy Ryan as an Eagles kicker, comes back to kind of haunt the Eagles by giving the Giants a big kick and a big win. Mike Patrick and Joe Theismann called the game for us, and it was a close one, guys.
Chris, it was, and if you remember in the preseason, Buddy Ryan said he had 3 kickers who were all good. He could only keep 1, and he'd have to let the other 2 go and kick somewhere else. Well, Paul McFadden found a home here, and he won a game tonight. It was a bizarre game.
Oh, it really was.
Very little offense, 9 turnovers.
Well, we brought up the point. The home team in the last 4 games on ESPN Sunday Night Football has not scored a touchdown. We've had nothing, but we've had 10 field goals in these football games, and it's a kind of a game where we knew it was going to be a defensive struggle. It went really the way I think each coach wanted it. They didn't want it to turn into a track meet, and it certainly wasn't. This game was won by the Giant defense tonight for the Giants.
Of course, the hero was Paul McFadden, who kicked that 35-yard field goal after earlier having kicked one from 46. We asked him about making that winning kick.
Paul, do kickers live for that moment in a game?
I don't. I'll tell you the truth. I don't enjoy that. I don't enjoy that kind of pressure. That's part of the job. And, you know, fortunately, the pressure kicks I've had with the Giants so far, we've been able to knock them through. But, you know, to me, that's something I don't look forward to. That's just something that comes along with it.
When you hit that kick, when did you look up to see if it was good or not?
I probably looked up real quick. It was a game winner. You know, it should have been a much better kick. You know, when the game's on the line, that's when a kicker, you know, pays his dues. You know, the guys who don't have the great numbers and keep their job is the guys who are hitting the kicks when the game's on the line for their teams. And I should have hit that kick much better.
Well, it went through, and that's all that really counts on the bottom line. A 46 and a 35-yarder. You won the game for your team and kept the Giants in a shot for the playoffs. Congratulations to you, Paul.
Thank you, Mike.
That's a big win for the New York Giants, but I don't believe it's as devastating a loss as one might think for the New Orleans Saints, because Jim Mora, he doesn't let his football team get real high, and he doesn't let them get down very low.
Saints still have a one-game lead in the NFC West. The Giants are still alive. They're tied with the Eagles. And, Chris, it looks like it'll go right down to the wire.
It could, guys, although the Saints go to Minnesota next, then at San Francisco. But they still lead, and good job, and we will see you next week. Deal?
All right.
Deal. And where will we be next week? It's in the Astrodome, the House of Pain. As live Sunday Night Football, the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Houston Oilers, undefeated at home this year, 8 Eastern time next Sunday. We should tell you that there were outstanding games played around the league. Atop the AFC, the Bills and the Bengals. Nobody had better records going in. How did it turn out at Riverfront? We'll check that out in the rest of Week 13 in a moment.
NFL Primetime is sponsored by the Acura Legend and Integra. Precision crafted performance exclusively at your Acura dealer.
When you race Formula One cars at speeds exceeding 200 miles an hour, you're bound to gain a great deal of valuable information about engine technology. You might expect us to keep information like that under lock and key. But we prefer to keep it someplace a little more accessible. The Acura Integra Sports Sedan.
Someday, when I'm awfully low, when the world is cold, I will feel a glow just thinking of you and the way you look tonight. Lovely, don't you ever change. 'Cause I love you just the way you look tonight.
One taste will tell you why.
Just the way you look tonight.
The night belongs to Michelob.
You know, thrifty car rental is thrifty price for everyone.
Well, Henry, this is a good deal. Sign it.
It's an offer you can't refuse.
Sign it.
Why don't you get a larger car to entertain friends?
Now I'll sign it.
Enjoy the luxury of a Chrysler New Yorker, just $34.95 a day at Thrifty. 72-hour advance reservation required.
Go ahead, make my reservation. It's simple. Call 1-800-for-cars.
NFL Primetime is sponsored by Mazda and the exciting new Mazda cars and trucks for 1989. By Magnavox, smart products for smart people. Magnavox, smart, very smart. And by Thrifty Car Rental, sponsor of the ESPN World Tour Sweepstakes to the Pro Bowl.
Welcome back to Primetime. The two heavies of the AFC met at Riverfront Stadium in Cincinnati today. But before we do that, we should update the late scores for you. Greg Bell, he ain't heavy. He's just a Ram. He scored a touchdown. It's 35-24. Broncos lead the Rams about 2 minutes ago at Mile High Stadium. Under 2 minutes to go at San Diego. And the Niners lead the Chargers 48-10. My mistake. But I was so excited about the game between the Bengals and the Bills at Riverfront Stadium in Cincinnati that I got ahead of myself. I mean, after all, you had the team with the best offense in the AFC, just about every category, the Bengals, against the team with the best defense in the AFC in just about every category, the Buffalo Bills. Bills had already clinched their division. The Bengals only a half a game ahead in the AFC Central over Houston. They needed the game. They had the sense of urgency. And boy, did they come out looking like it was urgent. This was after a night at La Boom across the river. Marv Levy, Sam Weiss, they were ready to play. The Bengals, how fired up were they? They hit anybody, even if it was their teammates. David Poulter, Darryl Smith, boom, there they go. Bengals have a rookie running back. What's his name again, Tom?
Ickey Woods.
Yeah, that's the guy. Ickey Woods picked up 17 yards on this carry. Same opening series. What's his name again?
Ickey Woods.
Ickey Woods on the same opening series around Fred Smirlis, 14 yards. Number 30,
Ickey Woods.
Ickey Woods, 13 yards, and they rolled right down the field. And no wonder, because he had some guys ahead of him.
Well, you see his offensive line here moving the Buffalo Bills off the ball the way they haven't been moved off all season. Ickey Woods getting to the safety, Kelso.
But the Bills on 4th down stopped them on a 4th and goal gamble. The Bills defense took over. But what about the Bengals defense, Tommy?
The Bengals defense with Reggie Williams, number 57, coming up the middle, put pressure on Kelly all day.
And after that sort of pressure by the defense, the offense got going. This is the other back, James Brooks. He goes around the left side.
You have to love the fact that this guy does not run out of bounds.
And you also have to love the fact, if you're a Bengal fan, that he occasionally runs into the end zone. Touchdown, 3 yards. Bengals lead at 7-0 after the second drive. Later in the first quarter, Boomer Esiason was led every week in the AFC passing ratings. Will continue to lead with passes like this to Eddie Brown of 29 yards. And then when Munoz goes against Bruce Smith, Boomer has time.
Gets a little bit of help here from Holman. The key, given in time all day.
They did a nice job on Bruce Smith, did the Bengals. Boomer early in the second quarter will roll out, hit James Brooks. Brooks will do the rest, and he has a special tribute to his quarterback. Hey, number 7, Boomer, this one's for you. Bengals lead 14-0. Bills then go back to their main man, their rookie back, Thurman Thomas. Stiff arming, 14 yards, 71 tough yards today. He looks healthy again. But it was really Ickey Woods who was the rookie running back in the spotlight today. Here, Ickey with a 1-yard plunge, the 21-7 lead. And, of course, you were with us a couple weeks ago. You know they have the record, the Ickey shake. Bengals lead 21-7 at the half. Marv Levy said, wait a minute, this hasn't been happening to us this year. But it was more early in the second half. Boomer Esiason, this time to Tim McGee, playing on a gimpy ankle, caught a couple of passes, this one for 19 yards. Boomer, a typical day, he should be, in my opinion, AFC MVP, but more on that later. And those passes helped set up Ickey Woods with a touchdown. Ickey had 139 yards on the day, 3 touchdowns, 13 touchdowns in all for the rookie. The rookie record 22 by Sayers, 28-7 Bengals. But were the Bills dead? No siree. Kelly to Ronnie Harmon, 9-yard touchdown. Harmon caught 8, 28-14. Then all of a sudden, while the Bengals might have felt that this one was in their pocket, Jim Kelly to Andre Reed. They don't rule it a touchdown down to the 1-foot line, but it sets up a Riddick blast. It's 28-21, and all of a sudden the Bills are right in it. The Bills defense gets the ball back with plenty of time for Kelly, but this was the turnover. Rob Riddick fumbles the football. Lewis Phillips recovers for the Bengals, and then they got another touchdown insurance, and then the Bengals defense stiffened. Jason Buck sacks Kelly. When it was all said and done, the Bengals had rolled up 455 yards against the Buffalo defense and allowed only 270 a game going in, and the Bengals whopped the Bills 35-21. And after the game, Cincinnati coach Sam Weiss, was he all smiles?
I hope that they have the feeling that they were outplayed today, because I think we had to whip 2 teams. We had to beat the officials again, and we had to beat the Buffalo Bills. But we beat them both. I hope something's done about the former, because it's getting a little scary.
You know, you take them all in perspective, whether you win them or lose them. Right now, it's very important that we win the rest of the games to get the home field advantage. Yep. Hopefully in the playoffs, we prove that we can beat the best team in the AFC.
Nice comment by Boomer, who I really feel, and maybe you guys agree, should be MVP in the AFC, although we have a few weeks to go. Sam, at 10-3, should be happy, not worried about officials. He should have been happy with his play on the line of scrimmage by his line, right, Tom?
The offensive line cleared the way for Ickey Woods and James Brooks to get 211 yards and 5 touchdowns. I think they knew the Bills would put a lot of pressure on them, had to establish the running game, did just that today.
Bengals are 10-3. The Bills 11-2. It already clinched Axe. Did they have this game in perspective?
Well, I think Marv Levy tried to keep everything in perspective for them. He made the statement, we feel like we've liberated Paris, but it's a long way to Berlin. I just think some of the young players didn't realize how wide the Rhine is. Speaking of Rhine, what rhymes with Rhine? How about wine? Sam, give us a break. You know, you're winning everything. You're recognized as a good coach, and you're still whining about the officials.
It's a Rhine wine. At any rate, the Rhine may go into the Great Lakes, though. If the Bills don't lose another game, they would continue to have the home field advantage. Of course, if the 2 teams ended with the same record, the Bengals would have a home game, if they played head-to-head, would have the home field advantage because they, they won the head-to-head battle today. Now, Axe, Cincinnati's win, what does it mean to them today?
Well, I think it could be very significant because I remember back to '81 when the Niners went to the Super Bowl against Cincinnati. Cincinnati then had a young team, and Walsh came into Cincinnati during the season, and he said Montana wasn't going to play. They didn't need the game. They had clinched, and they just wiped out Cincinnati 21-3. I think that hangover carried over into the Super Bowl and helped
the Niners. So I think this kind of victory at this point in the season is nothing but helpful.
You think it goes that far if they play again, Tom?
I think the defeat for the Bills not nearly as important. They had a lot of room for error. I think they knew that. We talked earlier on game day about a possible letdown. Not as much of a letdown as we would have thought. I like the way they came back in the second half.
I think that I don't feel surprised that Cincinnati won the ball game, but in January, in Buffalo, hey, you know, the defense is allowed to have one bad half a year. They just had one. But the Bengals showed when they're on, no one really can stop them full tilt. Buffalo may have that say if they meet again in the AFC Championship game in Rich Stadium, January 8th. That would be the AFC title game if all goes that far. Bills defense today, not what they've been the last month. When we come back, other games and who are expected to be in the Super Bowl just playing hang-on football.
Take a close look at Shoetown's 2 for Super Sale. Women's flats, $9.88. 2 for $17. Who has genuine leather pumps for $15.88? Shoetown. Leather Nike, leather Adidas, and leather Avia, $37.88. Turtlenecks, $9.88. 2 for $18. Save on sweaters, $15.99. Men's casual pants, $17.88. Acid wash denim jeans, $22.88 at Shoetown, the family store.
Tony's offers a lifetime warranty on new Master fuel pumps?
Right, a lifetime warranty.
How about a lifetime warranty on the kitchen sink?
You do the dishes, you got a lifetime warranty.
Marines, the best place to start your future. Marines, to gain confidence. Marines, to get training for life. The benefits add up. Stay in school, stay in shape, and stay off drugs. The Marines, we're looking for a few good men.
Monday night, Bo Jackson leads the Raiders against the Seahawks. John Saunders, Sam Ratigliano, and Ali Sherman preview the game on Zenith NFL Monday Night Matchup at 8 Eastern on ESPN.
Bobby Hebert at home in the Superdome. The New Orleans Saints looking to stay on top of the NFC West by 2 if they can beat the Giants on ESPN live at 8 Eastern time tonight. Hebert warming up, and so are the Denver Broncos. They've recovered the onside kick. They have the ball late in that game at home over the Rams. They continue to lead by 11. A final out from San Diego. The Niners have defeated the Chargers 48-10. When the year began, you had a feeling that perhaps the Redskins and the Browns might make it all the way to the Super Bowl. But they met today at RFK, and both teams were fighting for survival. And John Saunders, the Browns wearing their brown jerseys. I can't even remember the last time that happened. Maybe that was inspiration.
Inspiration for them, perhaps, but I agree with you. They look a little slower in those uniforms. This time last year, the Washington Redskins and Doug Williams were headed towards a Super Bowl championship. Williams would be the MVP, but today, as they play the Cleveland Browns, Doug Williams was on the outside looking in, and now perhaps so are the Washington Redskins. Joe Gibbs went to Mark Rippon. Marty Schottenheimer still had his man, Bernie Kosar, but he was sacked by Dexter Manley, and he was sacked often by the Redskins. He goes down one more time. And then on this next one, watch Mel Kaufman on the blitz. He gets to Bernie Kosar with some help from Dexter Manley. Washington, 6 sacks for 53 yards, and the defense would dominate this game early. Bernie Kosar would try everything to get a pass off. Watch him switch hands. Goes to his left hand, tosses this one, but it's incomplete just the same. This time, Kosar drops back, feels the pressure, and just spikes the ball. Neither team with much first-half offense. 3-0 Browns at the half. Mark Rippon came on hot in the second half, hitting Ricky Sanders for a gain of 10 yards and a first down here. Mark Rippon, would he be the answer to the Redskins' woe with Doug Williams sitting on the bench? Rippon to Sanders again, 25 yards down the sideline. Rippon a bit inconsistent on the day. The numbers are not great, and the 2 interceptions were key. He finishes off the drive, though, going to Gary Clark with the bullet into the end zone for the touchdown. 7 yards, 7-3 for the Redskins. And the Redskins special teams would rise to the occasion once again. Max Runniger back to punt from the rookie. Mike Oliphant gets in there and blocks it. The Skins add the field goal and go ahead 10-3. Then the defense would come up with a big play, as the fans at RFK were ready and waiting. Kosar picked off, this time by Barry Wilburn. But the Browns would not give up as the Redskins defense looked like it would hold most of the game. Cleveland's running game would come alive. Bernie Kosar getting up off the ground, and so did the Browns. Kevin Mack up the middle, 15 yards, as he would have a big game. deep in Washington territory. Kosar throws incomplete to Brian Brennan, but the flag is thrown. Darrell Green is called for interference. Coach Gibbs looks on. That's about as excited as he gets. Was it interference? Did Brennan have any chance to catch this ball? Well, certainly not after Darrell Green pushed him away. Moments later, Mack goes in for the touchdown from 1 yard out, and it's all tied up at 10-10. After the Redskins go up 13-10, Ernest Biner on the draw play takes the ball from Kosar, and we know it's muddy and it's slippery, but you have to tackle better than that. 27 yards. He takes it just about unmolested into the end zone for the touchdown. Cleveland converted on 3 crucial third down plays on the drive. 17-13 Cleveland. 1:08 left in the game. 4th and 21. Rippon looks for Art Monk over the middle. It's completed, a clutch play. The Redskins are still alive. Moments later, under a minute, Rippon's pass is too high for Sanders, and Mark Harper picks it off, and Cleveland wins it 17-13. The Washington Redskins and Joe Gibbs looking on lose the 3rd straight for the first time since 1981. The Browns improved to 8-5, and the Skins now, even they're thinking they're out of it.
There's no doubt that, I mean, mathematically you probably still say that we have a chance, but I just don't see how, the way things are going right now and the way that, the league's shaping up, that we have a chance.
With the Redskins all but out of it, the division comes down to the Cardinals, the Giants, and the Eagles. Well, the Cardinals and the Eagles have 2 games left against each other this year. One of them was this afternoon. Buddy's watching. That's the Eagles' rap, and he was watching. Randall Cunningham takes the Eagles downfield. Looking for Ron Johnson, 11 yards. He pumps this strike in there, caps off an 8-play, 80-yard drive, 7-0 for the Eagles. Then the fun started. Greg Horn's punt. Mark Konecki is ready to field it. Boom, Hundley with the stick. The Cards recover. Results in a touchdown. Randall again rolls right, stops, looks deep. It's picked off by Lester Lyles, and the Cardinals are in business. Second quarter, knocking on the door. Earl Farrell coughs up the ball. You got to hang on to it inside the 5-yard line. Cards miss a golden opportunity. 2 plays later, 1:30 to go in the half. Cunningham. It's Keith Byers for a first down, but he fumbles it, and Wayne Davis recovers. The Cardinals and Gene Stallings are all fired up. 47 seconds left, 14-7. Al Del Greco blows a 27-yard chip shot, his second miss of the game, and the Cardinals miss another chance. There were some good plays in the first half as well, like this one. Earl Farrell takes it down to about the 4-yard line and then decides airborne. Goes up and over and in. 17-yard run. The Cardinals lead it 14-7. Farrell with a good day except for the fumble. On to the third quarter. The rain is starting to come down, but it doesn't faze Randall Cunningham. Reads the blitz. Hits Chris Carter 7 yards as he hauls it in by the side. Carter with 3 receptions for 76 yards and the touchdown. 17-14 Eagles. Late in the third, a scary moment for the Philly faithful. Cunningham is hit hard by McDonald and Galloway. Now watch, he gets up, tries to help his teammate Ron Heller. Oh, and then he grabs his back. Randall leaves with a twisted back and had to go to the sideline, but he would return later. However, next play, Matt Cavanaugh comes in to replace Cunningham, tosses a 9-yard touchdown pass. Watch a catch by Johnson. Stretches out. Cavanaugh's only play, and you can't have better statistics than that when you only come in for 1. 24-14 Philly. Fourth quarter, Cardinals don't quit. 1st and 5. There goes Farrell again. 22 yards. Gets it down to the 1 where he would punch it in play later. 24-21 Philly. Back come the Eagles. Cunningham's back, and Keith Byers ends it with a 6-yard burst. The Eagles stay atop the NFC East 31-21. The Eagles have won 7 of their last 9 games, and are now 8-5. And hey, Buddy Ryan, you've just beaten the Cardinals. What are you going to do tonight?
Well, I'm going to go home and have a scotch and watch New Orleans beat the Giants, I hope.
I thought the answer was you're going to Disney World, but I guess maybe that's after you win the Super Bowl. The Eagles now have to wait and see what happens in the Giants game against New Orleans. They could be in sole possession of first place after tonight's game, Chris.
John, the difference is we pay a little less than Disney World when it comes to doing promos, I think. Let's go to the Phoenix game against the Philadelphia Eagles, and the Eagles have certainly come from behind many times this year, but was this a game for first place, a classic?
No, it was something less than a classic. Someone walking in off the street might think this was a game for bragging rights to the south side of Philadelphia or something, but all the blunders and everything. This was probably the worst battle of Titans since, I think, installment 7 of War and Remembrance.
Yeah, I remember that recently. On to the Cleveland game, and Tommy, the Browns maybe could have lost one more and still made the playoffs, and that was a chance they couldn't afford to take.
Biggest victory of the year for them in the sense that they'd rediscovered their power football game in the form of Kevin Mack. He got 116 yards today, and maybe more importantly, it's the way he gets it. About 5 yards a crack is about what he averaged today.
And for the Washington Redskins, they may still be mathematically alive, but really at 6-7 and a team on a skid and making changes and still not going anywhere, the Redskins' reign looks like it has ended. And a good reign it was, but a short one in the rain at RFK. The Angels had a song that said, "My boyfriend's back." And for the Cleveland Browns, Mack is back. I think it's about the same song.
Sarah, keep an eye on your brother.
No matter what size your business, no matter what size the job, Konica copiers are ready. Konica, capturing the imagination.
Some people see shaving as something you do for 3 minutes a day. At Braun, we see it as something you do for a lifetime. And we think you should make the best of it. The Braun Shaver, with its 3 shaving positions. Designed for those who choose to make a virtue out of necessity. Braun, the world's #1 selling foil shaver.
Before you even touch this camera, you're going to want to own it. The incredible 35mm Infinity Super Zoom 300. New from Olympus.
We'd like to welcome all of you who may have been watching the Denver Broncos put the finishing touches on their 35-24 win over the Los Angeles Rams. In case you're looking in for the first time, this is prime time. Hang on and enjoy. The Jets and the Miami Dolphins. Well, when these two titans of the AFC East met earlier this season, it was a 44-30 Jets win down in Miami. It was a game that featured 917 yards in total offense, 5 touchdown passes, 521 yards by Dan Marino, even though Miami lost. Could the teams top this at the Meadowlands under gray skies? Marino, you know all the records he has set. Opposite Pat Ryan, one of the best backups in football, but who doesn't play that much. For the last couple of weeks, he's gotten the nod over Kenny O'Brien, and Wesley Walker's back in the offense. 8-yard touchdown. Jets lead 7-0. Bryant to his veteran tight end, Mickey Schuler, 14-yard touchdown. The Jet offense looked good very early, as they did in Game 1 of the year against Miami. What about Dan Marino and company? Well, it was a rough start for the Dolphins and Marino. Scott Mercereau banged him early. But Marino recovered, and on a 3rd and goal situation, he hits Freddie Branks, who beats James Shake Your Booty for a touchdown, and it's a 10-yard score. Right before the half, on a 4th and 9, somehow Banks gets behind the Jets' defense. That's hasty on the coverage. 37-yard touchdown. The Dolphins trail at that point 17-14. In the 3rd quarter, flea flicker. Jensen back to Marino. Then 31 yards to Mark Clayton for a touchdown. And then Marino on his next possession, Marino to Clayton again. And Tommy, you notice a pattern of the defensive backs in this game?
We see not one defensive back turning back to look at the football.
Don't you have to do that sometimes to knock it down?
Might help.
Not in this game, though. Marino wasn't done. This time he looks for his rookie tight end, Farrell Edmonds. And this guy can run, folks. If you don't believe it, just watch this. Out-racing the Jets' defense. Rookie from Maryland, 80-yard touchdown. 5 TD passes again for Marino. 10 against the Jets this year. 189 on his career for Dan Marino touchdown passes. But his problem is, no matter how many points he puts up there, it may not matter. Because the Jets on offense, Pat Ryan, watch the forearm he takes from Mark Brown. Brown ejected from the game as he should have been. Ryan stayed in for a while, but later left with a concussion. Ken O'Brien came in the second half. And O'Brien picked up where Ryan left off. Mickey Schuler, 7 yards, touchdown, 34-31 Miami lead. Then, later in the 4th quarter, O'Brien to number 85. He's done it for years for the Jets. Wesley Walker, wide open. Where's the defense? 18 yards. Jets lead at 38-34. In relief, there were O'Brien's numbers. The Dolphins with one last chance, but this time John Booty, he wasn't shaken. He was jumping for joy. He knocked the ball away. Pat Ryan, he was knocked out of the game, a career high of 341 yards. This time, when Walton and Shula shook hands, they said, you know, I think we need some defensive backs here. 1,037 yards in total offense. Jets win 38-34. And we go from that game to a game of another magnitude. The Chiefs at the Steelers. Good crowd. They do show up at Pittsburgh. And the Chiefs, with a 2-game winning streak, got DeBerg to Stephon Page for a touchdown. He got hurt, but the Chiefs led it 7-6. The Steelers, Bubby Brister, hands off to Merrill Hodge. He scores a touchdown. And Pittsburgh regained the lead 13-7. Hodge, a pretty good day on the ground. Game of lost opportunities. Pittsburgh driving. Brister looking for Lewis Lips. Albert Lewis, almost interception. Actually, a nice play by Lips in the end zone to knock it away. Then KC driving. DeBerg calling the play, but Ron Woodson picks it off. And at the 1-yard line, guess what? He could go all the way. Here he goes all the way down the field. He's up to the 30, to the 40. Will he go all the way? Look at Woodson here. Anybody coming? Hey, how's it going? Runs into his own man. But there was a clipping penalty on the return anyway. It wouldn't have been a touchdown, but the Steelers got the ball on the interception. 3rd and 10 on the 46 later on. Peary, DeBerg, they can't handle the snap. And so Pittsburgh sees this. So what do they do on the sidelines? Well, Brister and his center, Chuck Lanza, because Webster got hurt, said, well, let's practice this a little bit, just in case we have to take a few center exchanges. For the Chiefs, all their games seem to go down to the wire. And trailing 16-10 with seconds to go, DeBerg incomplete for Emil Harry. And then last play of the game, trailing by 6, DeBerg looking for Kittrick Taylor. He can't get it. It's incomplete. Clock runs out. Did you really think the Chiefs were going to win 3 in a row? No. Final score, Pittsburgh 16 and Kansas City 10. And for the Steelers, it snaps a 4-game losing streak. And now we know for sure the Chiefs are mathematically eliminated in the AFC West, in case there was some suspense left. When we come back, lots to show you about, including some late games and some big wins for some teams at home in orange. Miami and the Jets, the numbers are staggering.
Mazda's got a brand new vehicle that's as unique and special and friendly as the family dog. It's the all-new Mazda MPV. It carries 7 like a wagon, it's versatile like a van, and with its responsive V6, it performs like a Mazda. If Mazda's MPV sounds like something that's never been before, you're right. About the only thing it won't do is get your paper in the morning. The all-new Mazda MPV. Family transportation, the Mazda way.
My brother just did something very smart. Very smart. He got this amazing new picture-in-picture TV. Yep, Magnavox did it again. Now we could watch 2 shows at once, so we never fight over the TV anymore.
We never fight anymore.
We could watch one show and preview another.
We can even reverse the picture.
How smart of Tom to get a TV this smart.
How smart of him to say how smart I are.
How smart I are?
Him too.
Magnavox. Smart choice. Very smart.
Oh, look at this. It's priceless.
Naturally.
It's Mom and Dad's 50th wedding anniversary.
Here we go.
Oh, wait, I'm going to charge it with the American Express card. That way it's automatically insured.
Hi, did you get it?
Hi, Mom.
Terrific.
You won't believe it. Don't worry. Remember, I used the American Express card. So it's insured.
Lost, stolen, or damaged. A way to protect the things you buy. Membership has its privileges.
Doug Flutie began his heroic stint at the helm of the New England Patriots in a relief effort in the 4th quarter of a game a few weeks ago against the Indianapolis Colts. He pulled that game out for the Patriots 21-17, and he's been at the helm ever since. They've been running into the playoff thick of things. But for the Patriots, they were facing their 3rd straight road game at Indianapolis, and teams have a tough time winning when they have 3 in a row on the road. Robert Irsay and the commissioner, Pete Rozelle. That's where the commissioner was today. And the Colt fans wanted to welcome him, and they also would like a Super Bowl there. Oh, by the way, Pete, opening kickoff goes to the Patriots' Sammy Martin. And he takes the ball at his 5. And after following a block and making 1 or 2 cuts, he could go all the way. He does go all the way, 95 yards. And as quick as you could kick it off, the Patriots led it 7-0. Eric Dickerson had a tough afternoon. He had never beaten the Patriots. Dickerson, his last 3 games, we told you on game day, had been subpar, and more of the same as the rookie Vincent Brown makes the tackle here. And later on another try, Dickerson, Tim Gold on the stop as the Patriots had his number today. As for the number 2 running back in the AFC, John Stevens, he didn't do much better with only 56 yards. The ball at the 1-yard line, Stevens looking for the touchdown. Barry Krause stops it for a loss of 1. On the next play, Stevens gets back to the 1, And on the first play of the second quarter, after big huddle on 4th and goal, they say, well, Stevens didn't work. Let's give it to Robert Perryman. Does he break the plane? Yes, he does. He fumbled, but they rule a touchdown just in time. 14 all at the half. Rookie quarterback Chris Chandler marched the Colts down early in the fourth quarter using Billy Brooks on his 23-yard pickup that would bring it down to the 26-yard line of the Patriots. Later in the drive, Chandler keeps it himself, and as he rolls left, he fakes the throw, then tucks it under, and is knocked out of bounds at the 18-yard line, good for the first down. The next play, Chandler to Mark Boyer. 18 yards, Boyer turns it upfield, touchdown, we're tied at 21. On a 4th down situation, Doug Flutie to O'Brien Alston, who bats it back to Flutie, who throws it to get Willie Tullis. It forces a Patriots field goal attempt when it's all said and done, which was no good. Later on, Ron Stark punting. The game still tied. Patriots looking for the go-ahead score, but Irving Fryer fumbles the punt. Michael Ball recovers at the 20. Dean Biasucci makes a field goal. It's 24-21. Final play of the game from 27 yards to put it into overtime. Jason Starowski kicks like Igor Stravinsky. It's no good to wide to the left. And Stravinsky's pretty good with music, but not with field goals. And the Colts and Biasucci and company beat the New England Patriots 24-21. So both teams now 7-6 have definite uphill climbs to get in the playoffs. So they both are still alive. It was kind of a sweet revenge a little bit for Ron Meyer, although he wouldn't like us to use that word. And Doug Flutie, you know, Tommy, they've said he never lost at Sullivan Stadium, and he never lost at the Meadowlands, College and Pro, and he never lost at Miami. They finally found a stadium, the Hoosier Dome, where he never played before, so he lost.
Commendable that with all of the mistakes and the fumble by Fryer, Stevens getting less yardage than what you'd expect, that he kept him in the football game. This guy does a lot of things well. All the intangibles, leadership qualities. I think New England, even if they don't make the playoffs, they're on the right track.
Yeah, they certainly bounced back from what could have been a horrifying season for them. And the Colts had that 5-game winning streak snapped last week. They're back on the winning track now as they start a new winning streak. They hope for them. Super Bowl champions who did not make it to the playoffs the next year. There's still a shot for the Skins, but not a good one. This is how this stat will look if they don't pull off a miracle.
The drive is on. Mazda's year-end sales drive. It's already the biggest sales year in Mazda history, but your Mazda dealer wants to close it out with a bang. So he's making remarkable year-end deals on 323s, on 626s, even on the red-hot MX-6. So get to your Mazda dealers today and drive one home. The year-end sales drive ends soon. See your local Mazda dealer now.
Some people see shaving as something you do for 3 minutes a day. At Braun, we see it as something you do for a lifetime. And we think you should make the best of it. The Braun Shaver, with its 3 shaving positions. Designed for those who choose to make a virtue out of necessity. Braun, the world's #1 selling foil shaver.
Millions of miles and millions of cars, more of them every year. They're riding on Kendall motor oil, that's what I hear.
Every year, more Americans discover the protection that only comes with the unique, pure quality of Kendall motor oil.
They're riding on Kendall motor oil, year after year.
Kendall, protection worth its weight in gold for more than 100 years.
In 3 words or less, tell us why you prefer thrifty car rental.
You don't have to be wealthy or well-known to rent any of Thrifty's new Chrysler cars. Thrifty is...
May I remind the affiliates we may run a little over tonight.
Enjoy the luxury of a Chrysler New Yorker, just $34.95 a day at Thrifty. 72-hour advance reservation required.
Have you ever noticed how some people can't come out and say thrifty price for everyone? Have you ever noticed that? Call 1-800-for-cars.
Number 56, Lawrence Taylor, among the Giants who will be playing tonight at 8 Eastern Time as the Giants go into New Orleans to play the New Orleans Saints, live on ESPN at the top of the hour. Teams that have played more than any other teams in football, the Green Bay Packers and the Chicago Bears. They met for the 137th time today at Soldier Field in Chicago. And the Packers, a team that has trouble scoring touchdowns against anybody. Now they have to go against Mike Ditka, Jim McMahon. Yeah, they're both on the sidelines. But the Chicago Bears mean defense. And with Mike Tomczak at the helm, they've been doing well. He had plenty of time to hit Ron Morris for 15 yards. And how much time did he have, Tom? I'd say tons.
Well, here the pocket forms perfectly. He steps up. He's got too much time if you're a defensive football player.
More than enough time if you're a Bear. He likes to see that. Neil Anderson culminated the drive with a 1-yard run. Longest drive of the season, 70 yards for Ditka's Bears. They lead it. 7-0 second quarter. Tomczak, though, didn't have the protection all day long. Tim Harris nails him. And Tomczak separated a shoulder with McMahon already on the sidelines. Jim Harbaugh had to play the rest of the game and maybe longer. Then more bad news. Watch Richard Dent's left leg. Broken lower left fibula. Fracture, we should say. Who knows how long he'll be gone. It sounds like a season ender. Third quarter with the score still 7-0. Don Mikowski throwing deep to Sterling Sharp, but Bestie Jackson will pick it off. They call it a pickoff in the end zone. And that would set up Neil Anderson. Watch him go to the 30-yard line. Make the cut at the 35. Cuts all the way across the field, and Anderson could go all the way. A debate. Does he step out of bounds? First they rule it's a 78-yard run that he's out at the 2. Then a replay shows that, no, he didn't step out at the 2. We'll call it a touchdown, but isn't he out at the 6? I'll save what I really think about this. They should get them right or don't use it at all. I couldn't save it. 139 yards for Anderson, and they eventually call it the touchdown. Packers trail at 14-0 after this. But after a fumbled punt deep in Bears territory, they have a shot on 4th and goal. Mikowski going into the end zone. No, it's knocked down. The Packers have scored but 2 touchdowns in their last 24 quarters. The Bears take on a safety. Mikowski stepped out of the end zone on the next series, and it's 16-0. The Bears with a final. Meanwhile, the Bucs at the Falcons, 14,020. I think you have to go back to Ernie Nevers and the Duluth Eskimos to find an attendance that low at an NFL game. Bucs demonstrate their offense early. Vinny Testaverde intercepted. Andre Bruce picks it off. Vinny's had some problems with the INT this year. And the Bucs' next visit, John Cardi. No good on the field goal. He's kicking for Igwebuike. Third time the Bucs had the ball. William Howard stripped to the football. Bobby Butler recovers. So the Falcons, after all this, led 3-0. And John settles into the end zone with an 8-yard run. Yes, they call it the touchdown first. 10-0 Falcons. Vinny got it going for a while. Hit Ron Hall for 24 yards. Then again for 33 yards. Sets up a Lars Tate touchdown to tie the game at 10. Atlanta, though, now has Gerald Riggs back. I want you to watch how far he carries guys. 5, 10, 15, 20 yards. That's Jim Taylor-esque as Gerald Riggs with 92 yards. And then with Riggs in the backfield and Settle in the backfield, this is a team that can go places. Settle, 24-yard run. Look at the Buccaneers missed tackle after tackle, and Settle had 83 yards to go with Riggs' 92 on the day. 3 plays later, with the game still tied at 10, Chris Miller to Michael Haynes, and in the slot, he'll slide into the end zone for a touchdown. 37 yards, 17-10, Atlanta. Still with that score, Vinny Testaverde tried to rally the Bucs. No. Intercepted by Scott Case. Still with that score, Vinny Testaverde tried to rally the Bucs. No. Intercepted by Scott Case. Vinny on the day, 3 more INTs. Ray Perkins said, well, I've seen better days. Final score, the Atlanta Falcons won 4 out of 5. They beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 17-10. But Tommy, on to the Bears, who, yes, won again today, played with great defense, but they lose Richard Dent this time.
They lose Mike Tomczak at the quarterback, the strength of this team. The defense, Richard Dent now gone. We've been talking about those interchangeable parts. They lose a linebacker. They lose another all-pro linebacker. They continue to play well. This will affect them as they move toward the playoffs. You cannot lose Richard Dent and continue to play exactly the same.
And as far as the quarterback situation goes, originally they were talking about McMahon coming back on the next Monday night game against the Rams. Earlier this week, Mike McCaskey said we can't count on him. So it looks like Harbaugh for a while. And who will they sign as a backup quarterback? Fuller was picked up this week by San Diego. Maybe Sid Luckman. We will see. How did the playoff situation, how did the standings stack up? Well, in the AFC, you know Buffalo's in the East. The Central, everybody won this week, so that's still Cincy by 1 over Houston, 2 over the Browns. In the West, Raiders in Seattle on Monday night, and hey, someo's over 500. I think it's the Broncos. Wild card picture, if the Bengals don't win their division, looks like they, Oilers, and Browns, look like the Central may have 3 representatives. The Pats and Colts are 7 and 6 and still in the hunt. As the Broncos don't win their division, they theoretically are still in the hunt, but the AFC Central looking good. NFC East, Giants game pending. Eagles won, Phoenix lost. Of course, those two teams meet again in 2 weeks. Chicago with the 2-game bulge over Minnesota. End the season Monday night at Minnesota. Want to make sure they have a 2-game lead going into that one since Minnesota beat them earlier. In the West, Niners winning, pull within a game and a half of the Saints pending the Sunday night outcome. The Rams with their 4th straight loss falling back into the wild card consideration now. We just put the Bears in there theoretically. They are at least in the playoffs. We know they've clinched. This is how the wild card would stack up if these teams don't win their division. There are other teams in the hunt in the NFC. But all of a sudden, there's some hot teams. And if they're thinking wild card, they better get hot now. We're back with late games in a moment.
Now Tony's offers a lifetime warranty on Monromatic shocks?
Right, a lifetime warranty.
How about a lifetime warranty on the kitchen sink?
You do the dishes, you got a lifetime warranty.
Marines, the best place to start your future. Marines, to gain confidence. Marines, to get training for life. The benefits add up. Stay in school, stay in shape, and stay off drugs. The Marines. We're looking for a few good men.
Hey, Saints fans, come on out to the Saints Hall of Fame Museum, located at 409 Williams Boulevard in Rivertown, Kenner. See original Saints memorabilia from 1967 to the present. See John Gilliam's famous kickoff return and game ball, Tom Dempsey's record 63-yard field goal, original uniforms worn by past and present players. Visit the tailgate party room or relax in the Saints Theater on original bleachers from Tulane Stadium. See history as your Saints make history. The Saints Hall of Fame Museum, 409 Williams Boulevard in Kenner.
The Denver Broncos at home. Best record in the NFL since 1981. And really, John Saunders, going into the game, it looked like that was all they had going for them, coming off another blowout last week.
Exactly right, Chris. Last week was the New Orleans Saints who killed them 6 and 6 coming into this game. But just the same, they knew that a victory and they would have first place in the AFC West, at least for a day, because Seattle and the Raiders don't play until Monday night. Desperation Bowl in Denver. The Rams and the Broncos both need a win. Jim Everett throws up the middle to Henry Eller. Touchdown. Eller beating Hardin Haynes 7-0. Eller with 2 touchdowns today and 1,000 yards in the season. Desperation Bowl comes to Elway, though. 1st and 10 from the 39. Elway out of the pocket. The wide open Mark Jackson for the touchdown to tie the game at 7 apiece. Late in the first half, the Rams are up 10-7 and looking for more, much more. Mike Lansford from 23 yards out. Boing, off the right, upright. Van Lansford from 34 yards out. Well, how about the left? The idea is to get it between them, not to hit them. Denver gets the ball with 2 minutes left in the half. 1st and 10 from the 22. Elway scrambles and does it himself. Takes it down to the 1-yard line. Then it's 2nd and goal from the 1. That's not a fumble, folks. Elway would call his own number and take it in for the touchdown. The Broncos go up 14-10 at the half. John Elway comes out of the pile, gets up, and says, finally, some points. Jams this one to earth. 3rd quarter, 2nd possession for Denver. 1st and 10 from the 38. Elway to Mark Jackson again as he moves around in the pocket and tosses this one. Jackson with the nice move and takes it in for the touchdown. 21-10 Denver. Jackson's 2nd touchdown reception of the day. Rich Carlos then to kick off. Brown is back for L.A. waiting to field it. But he can't get the handle on it, fumbles the ball. Billy Bryan recovers for Denver, and the Broncos are in great shape again. For the next play, 1st and 10 at the 14-yard line. Elway looks for Vance Johnson, throws a strike to him, cuts it across back to the post, and in for the touchdown. 28-10 for Denver. They go for a little icing on the cake. The ball's going in the stands at Mile High. 28-10 Broncos already. The fans are loving it. Elway hands off to Tony Dorsett, who connects to Sammy Winder for the touchdown. 35-10 Broncos. They go on to win it 35-24. It's the first time Elway threw 3 touchdown passes in a game this year, if you can believe it. And John Robinson's season is just about over. They're 7-6, fighting for a wild card. The Bronx are 7-6. They lead the AFC West by a half game. In San Diego, the Chargers in San Francisco. Dan Fouts, number 14, retired today. He played 15 seasons in San Diego and was one of the greatest to ever play the game. Now, here's the man who has the reins now, Mark Malone. Things have changed. Joe Montana, they haven't changed for San Francisco. to Jerry Rice. And Rice is off to the races. 96 yards on the touchdown score, the longest in 49er history. Number 7 on the season for Rice. Joe Montana with the 3 touchdown passes today. And Jerry Rice would have a good day as well, as they would hook up 171 yards in the 2 touchdown receptions. 7-0 for the 49ers. On the other side, Malone having his problem. Watch Jamie Holland right in the midst, and he drops it. Next, Malone rolls, looking for Anthony Miller. Handles this one like a hand grenade as well. Malone not happy, and just read his lips. Something about catching the football. So with the Chargers down 2 touchdowns, Malone says, forget it, I'll do it myself. Why bother throwing the ball? 36 yards on the keeper. Eric Wright with the last chance, but Malone gets it in. And it's 14-7. The Chargers are back into it. Mark Malone, 2 interceptions on the day, however. Late in the second quarter, Montana with the magic again. Under heavy pressure, gets away from 2 defenders, almost falls down, and tosses it off to Roger Craig on the shovel pass. 2 yards for the touchdown. Roger Craig with another Roger Craig-like day. 87 yards in the 2 touchdowns. The third quarter, the 49ers, magnificent 2 combine again. Who else? Montana to Rice. 41 yards, and this game is now a blowout as he goes into the end zone. Number 80 and number 6, that doesn't look like Montana and Jerry Rice, but they decided to watch the rest of the game from the stands. 48-10, 49ers now 8-5, and depending on what happens to the Saints, they could be just the game back, Chris.
Yes, those are the newest Niners, Marty Feldman eyes. John, one other game we should ask you about. You are Canadian. What about the Grey Cup today?
I don't understand why we didn't lead with this. The most important football game being played today, Lansdowne Park in Ottawa. It was the Winnipeg Blue Bombers against the BC Lions. The Blue Bombers win it on a Trevor Kennard field goal in the fourth quarter. Before that, they were exchanging punts, you know, getting the 1 point by booting it through the end zone. But the Winnipeg Blue Bombers are now the Grey Cup champions. Great story.
These are the Blue Bombers in the Grey Cup, as our congratulations go out to the folks from Winnipeg. We'll be back with more on this edition of Primetime in just a moment.
Mazda's year-end sales drive. It's already the biggest sales year in Mazda's history, but your Mazda dealer wants to end it on an even higher note with special incentives that can save you hundreds on the world's #1 selling sports car, Mazda RX-7. Get to your Mazda dealer's year-end sales drive and drive one home today. Come drive a Mazda. The year-end sales drive ends soon. See your local Mazda dealer now.
Sarah, keep an eye on your brother.
No matter what size your business, no matter what size the job, Konica copiers are ready. Konica, capturing the imagination.
The new Remington Microscreen Ultimate with the exclusive beard lifter stretches the skin and lifts whiskers other shavers leave behind. The new Remington Microscreen Ultimate shaves as close as a blade and closer than any other electric shaver, or your money back.
They tell us that we're over at the top of the hour to make way for live football from New Orleans between the Saints and Giants. So we figured it was time that we had the last word, and time of the last word in the AFC, at least for the day, belonged to the Bengals.
The last word here was had by the offensive line. And if you want to have the last word, you have to control Bruce Smith. Here, Bruce Reimers and Bruce Kazerski control Mr. Smith. On the next play, you see Anthony Munoz alone. As Bruce Smith gets his back turned, Munoz sends him to the ground. Now, Munoz receives some help here. Holman, the tight end, gives him a little bit of help. But the key word here is enabling Esiason to have time to throw the football, which he had plenty of.
In Washington, it's very sad that the last word for the Redskins' playoff chances was not be able to be spoken by Doug Williams. He sat out the entire game and watched Mark Rippon warm up down 17-13 with a minute to go. Rippon led the offense all day long, and the Super Bowl hero of a year ago was silent. You can only feel for Doug Williams. Axe?
Well, curmudgeon that I am, I want to say a good word about instant replay, telephone calls. Look at Michael Harper. Here, he downs the ball, his foot's in the end zone. Now, let's go to the booth. Check the replay. Sure enough, let's have a conversation. Jerry Seaman on the phone or enjoys it. They change the decision. They make the right call. Now, pass from Cunningham. Squirts out of Haddock's hands. Is it intercepted? No. Well, it's trapped, apparently. Let's go to the booth. Well, now this raises the question. Is there anybody in that booth, or is this the Wizard of Oz? Is that what the NFL had in mind all along?
and Toto, too. Your day, early, rough, late, better. And the late game, you gave us the Giants earlier, but now Phil Simms deactivated, won't play. It's Hostetler, the controls against the Saints on the road. Tough one.
Yes, it is tough. We're going without Simms. We're going without Carl Banks. And the Giants have lost all 4 games against the spread that they've played against decent teams this year. Frankly, it's not a situation I love to get in. When I made the pick earlier in the morning, I thought Simms would be playing, but of course we've learned otherwise. But think of it this way. You want a bright side? I got to come up with something. They've watched the films of Mora rolling it up last week against the Broncos. They've watched the fake field goal ahead 28-0. They've watched 35-0, throwing long passes. Coaches pay attention to this. So do players. I think the Giants will get inspired enough, and maybe even sometimes a team with a wounded quarterback plays even harder. I'm not going to say I wouldn't prefer Phil Simms in there, but for now, consider me president of the Hostetler fan club. I'm taking the Giants plus 5.5. And these guys are laughing. I remind you, the last time they laughed was this morning when I said the Rams would lose because teams in pick'em games after San Diego were 0-4. Well, Chris, it's 0-5.
Teams getting points in dome stadiums with late quarterback changes are 0-0 going into this game. Here's Axe's day as a nice comeback late for the Axe with the Giants tonight. We'll be back with some more at home.
What's the hottest gift for men this year?
The minute I saw it, it was like, this is perfect for Steve. My brother's gonna freak when he sees I got it for him.
It's a hilarious video cassette. The very best of the football follows. 44 minutes of some of the all-time craziest football bloopers ever.
He can watch that kind of stuff over and over again. The bloopers, the fumbles, he really likes it.
And best of all, you get it free with your paid subscription to Sports Illustrated. Call their toll-free Christmas hotline now and get 55 issues of SI at a low Christmas sale price, over 55% off the cover price.
Not bad. Not bad at all.
Your gift includes exclusive previews and exciting issues, like the 25th anniversary swimsuit issue.
I'd love to get SI this Christmas, and I hope my girlfriend Kelly is watching.
It's the perfect gift for any man. There's even a card for under the tree, all for just 99 cents per issue. You won't be billed till next year, and get the videotape free. Call 1-800-541-8400.
You won't see this, will he? Well, honey, Merry Christmas!
NFL Primetime has been sponsored by Thrifty Car Rental, sponsor of the ESPN World Tour Sweepstakes to the Pro Bowl. By Michelob, one taste will tell you why the night belongs to Michelob. By the Remington Electro Blade Razor, the vibrating blade system. And by Mazda and the exciting new Mazda cars and trucks for 1989.
Thank you for joining us on NFL Primetime. And if you're just tuning in, you know, sometimes we don't do these scores at the end of the show. You're lucky, but we'll give them to you. Let's recap everything in the AFC. The big battle of Titans, won by Cincinnati. Impressive performance by Esiason and Woods and company. 35-21. The Bengals led by 21 points, then held on over the Bills. Nice performance at home by the Bengals. Washington looks like their playoff hopes have gone out the window. A late touchdown run by Biner seals their fate. It looks like they're 6-7. Cleveland with the win 17-13 at RFK. Joe Gibbs' first loss in 14 tries after a Monday night game. Philadelphia at home came from behind to defeat the Phoenix Cardinals 31-21. Going into the Sunday night game, they lead by their lonesome atop the NFC East. They play the Cards again in Phoenix in 2 weeks. The Jets, in a wild game of over 1,000 yards of offense, beat the Miami Dolphins 38-34. Ryan and O'Brien combining on the quarterback chores over Marino. Chicago loses Richard Dent with a broken fibula in his lower left leg. Lose Mike Tomczak in a shoulder separation, but nobody scores. They beat the Packers 16-0. Atlanta over Tampa Bay. The Falcons have won 4 of 5, 17-10 the final there. At Pittsburgh, could the Chiefs win 3 in a row? No. Pittsburgh beat them 16-10, although the Chiefs had the ball deep late. Indianapolis stops the New England winning streak. They win 24-21. Starofsky missed a chip shot at the gun, which would have sent the game into overtime. The Denver Broncos, when they come home, they play a West Coast team. Nice cold weather. They win 35-24. Broncos over the Rams. San Francisco, they are on a roll. The Saints should beware in the NFC West. San Francisco bombs San Diego 48-10, and those are the scores on Sunday afternoon. Next week, some big games that we'll be checking out for you, of course, on game day, which begins at 11:30 in the morning every Sunday. The Saints, following this week, they go to Minnesota. Minnesota, the team that beat them handily in the wild card game last year, Saints and Minnesota. That's the key game next week. Other games to keep your eye on, the Monday Nighter. Chicago will be at the Los Angeles Rams. Will it be Harbaugh or does McMahon come back at quarterback? Denver at the Raiders. Raiders still have the Monday night game with Seattle. Speaking of Seattle, they are at New England. Seattle trying to win in the cold on the road. And Phoenix at the New York Giants, third straight road game for the Cards. And all that, of course, will be on game day for you at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time. But that's next week. For Pete Axthelm, for Tom Jackson, for John Saunders, I'm Chris Berman. Thanks for watching Primetime.